Now, let's go ahead and open up the doors. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily with Doc. My name is Becca Dukes, and because of the value that I found, the benefits that I found in the message that we provide here on Daily with Doc, I can, with confidence, be the hostess of this program. If I didn't have confidence in it, if I didn't know that it worked for myself and the many people that I've been able to help and introduce to what we are providing to you today, I wouldn't do what I do. If it's not done with integrity, I won't do it. And I know the guest that I have here with us today has that same philosophy as one of my mentors. And I am just so happy and honored that we're able to have Fridays that we are coining as Pharmacist Fridays with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Now, if you were invited by somebody specific to watch this program, I want to make sure that you get back with them. We are a resource for an amazing community, amazing group of people that just care and love on people. And because they took the time and cared enough to share this program with you, make sure that you get back with them. Now, if you found us on your own, which many people do, and you would like to speak with somebody to find out exactly what you yourself can do or benefit from when it comes to nutrition and the things that we offer on this program, then we do have a call team on the Daily with Doc program, which this program is sponsored by DailywithDoc.com. You can call us at 855-949-3377. Again, this is for people that aren't already working with somebody, okay? 855-949-3377, or you can go to our website, DailywithDoc.com, and look for that contact option and send us an email. We also have a newsletter, so make sure that you get signed up for newsletter. That is available to anybody and everybody. We send out a newsletter that shares what last week's program was, or the lineup and description, so it makes it easy to find and share with other people. Now, when we ask you to share, we're not just asking you to share, we're actually doing a giveaway. So go to dwdgiveaway.com. You will get all the instructions and everything for our giveaway, that as you share, you earn points that then in return, those with the highest points then get free product from me. So lots of stuff going on, and we don't want to waste any more time and get right to the guests that we have today. Now, Pharmacist Ben is a nutritional pharmacist specializing in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use pharmaceutical drugs. So he looks at the human body as a whole, a healing, regenerating system designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-by-moment basis. And I absolutely love that, because that's what I experienced myself. So we invite you to take charge of your biochemistry through foods and supplements, rather than allowing toxic prescription drugs to take charge of you. And today, we are going to be talking about the square of nutrition with Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. And I just want to say hello, Ben, and welcome to Pharmacist Fridays. Oh, wait, unmute, my friend.
Hello, Rebecca. Thank you for that introduction. And before I forget, let me just say hello to my friend Phyllis Anderson, who I've not seen for many, many years, I don't believe, but she looks exactly the same. Phyllis was there at the beginning, at the very,
isn't she beautiful?
From day one. She saw a young Pharmacist Ben with long black hair.
You looked like a college student.
Did I look back then?
Yeah.
I had long black hair. Remember?
And that was only 10 years ago. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was 25 years ago, Phyllis Anderson.
Holy Great moly. To see you. Great to see you
as well. That's one thing about longevity, is People who really get it, and they stay and they stick because it's a powerful message and we help a lot of people. And what you said, Becca, I want to second that. How you said how, when you see things yourself, when you observe the kind of results you get in your own life and then in the lives of the people that you're helping, you can't help but want to just scream from every rooftop. You don't have to be sick, people. You don't have to be stuck on prescription medicine. You don't have to have your gallbladder yanked out and your female organs taken out and your breasts hacked off and all the other things that doctors do to in the name of helping us feel better without taking care of our health. There are options that are available. Number one, first of all, let me say, I don't like ripping on doctors because they're good people. But if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And doctor's job is to keep us alive, and that's a good thing. They're not there to help us thrive. That's our business. They're there to keep you alive when you're on death's door or when a rock hits you on the head or, God forbid, you get into a car accident. That's a great job they perform. But as far as being excited to be alive and being able to touch your toes and throw your grandkids up in the air and catch them and bounding out of bed and being resistant to diseases, that's the job of lifestyle. That's not the job of the doctor. That's our job and as human beings, and it's our job as longevity representatives to help human beings do that. And we've done it for so long, over the course of 25 years, that I can't even count the number of people that we've helped. And that's why I want to second what you said, Becca. We stand on every rooftop we can find, and we utilize every platform that's available to us to spread the word, to share this information that you don't have to be sick. If you give your body the good stuff and keep the bad stuff out, the body will do the rest. And that's where I came up with this concept of the square of health. I talk about the triangle of disease, right? The 3 points on the bottle, the 3 points of bodily breakdown that underlie all chronic degenerative disease, the 3 points that have to be addressed if you're going to deal with all chronic degenerative disease, the 3 points that if we don't address, we will not be able to handle any chronic degenerative disease. And the fact that we don't address these 3 points when we have heart disease or neurological issues or autoimmune diseases or skin problems or movement disorders, etc., or dementias, it accounts for our failure, collective failure at treating or dealing with or reversing these chronic degenerative diseases. On the other hand, if you do address the digestive system, the blood sugar system, the adrenal thyroid complex, everything else will fall into place. But I would be remiss if I didn't if I only had a triangle of disease, but I didn't have some option for health. And we just talked about the disease. That's great. You need to know how the diseases progress, but you also have to have options for health. And that's why I came up with the fourfold square of health, which is what we're going to talk about here today. Thank you, Rebecca, for picking that subject. The fourfold square of health are the 4 things you have to do from a physical perspective to stay healthy. You notice I said from a physical perspective. Quick disclaimer, always have to give this. Health is multidimensional. And when we're sick on the physical level, oftentimes, most times, probably all of the times, we're also sick on the other dimensions of health and wellness, which are spiritual, mental, emotional, and then physical. And I don't want to be the kind of nutritionist who just wants to or the kind of healthcare professional, I should say, who just focuses on the physical side of things. If you have a health challenge, rest assured there are other levels, spiritual, mental, and emotional levels that can be addressed to maximize your recovery. You can get some recovery, and a lot of people do get recovery by just addressing the physical, but what often happens is people plateau. Like their blood pressure will drop just so much, or the weight will come off just so much, or their symptoms will be mitigated just so much, and they'll plateau. They'll just stay at the same place. And when that happens, I always know there's emotional, mental, and spiritual matters that aren't being addressed. And we're not here to talk about those different levels, except to say that those levels need to be addressed to be maximally healthy. And by spiritual, I'm not talking about religious. I'm talking about connection to God, the universe, nature, whatever metaphor you want to use to describe it, so that you feel like you're part of the world, not disconnected from it. Disconnection leads to fear. Fear leads to activation of the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, when it's activated, will suppress your immunity, make it difficult for you to process your food and get energy, and slow down healing and recovery. Mental strategies and mental and emotional are like two sides of the same coin. Both affect biochemistry and biology and physiology via hormones. Every time you think a thought or feel a feeling, you produce a hormone. To be simplistic about it, it's either a hormone of safety, a hormone of thrival, or a hormone of fear. Fear hormones activate the fear chemistry, which, like disconnection, suppresses immunity, inhibits recovery, and slows down or impairs the ability to absorb nutrients. On the other hand, mental and emotional hormones of love and of safety activate all the good stuff. So I'm not going to belabor that point, except to say those 3 points, those 3 levels have to be addressed. From a physical perspective, there's 4 aspects of physical well-being, the fourfold square of health, which are: number 1, exercise; number 2, rest; number 3, respiration; and number 4, obviously, for our purposes here, nutrition. So nutriate, move the body, rest the body, and respirate the body. Those are 4 elements of physical well-being. They all have to be, they're all important. Starting off with respiration. And I say respiration rather than oxygenation because the respiratory process is biphasic. It's 2 phases. It's breathing in to get oxygen and breathing out to eliminate carbon dioxide, and they're both important. When you eliminate carbon dioxide, your body is actually more, when you eliminate carbon dioxide, you're actually detoxifying your body. Toxins come out in the breath. In fact, interestingly, when you lose weight, sometimes people wonder, where does that weight go? When you lose 20 pounds, where does that weight go? You ever wonder that? Rebecca, you lost a bunch of weight. Where did that weight go? How do you lose it?
Well, that's a very good question
Isn't that
because
a
I
good
lost
question?
100 pounds.
I know, you lost 100 pounds. It wasn't on your bed when you woke up in the morning, was it? Where did that 100 pounds go? You
Well, I
lose
just
weight.
assumed that it
You
went
lose
through
weight
the
in
toilet.
your breath.
Oh,
You lose weight in your breath. When you drop pounds, it's coming out of your breath. You're breathing it out. Isn't that interesting? Everybody wants to lose weight, but nobody ever wonders where the weight goes. It goes out your breath. So carbon dioxide is how we lose toxicity. We lose acid. Some of you may know that acid is associated with illness and disease. Acid is blown off with carbon dioxide as you exhale carbon dioxide. Oxygen obviously is very important for energy. When oxygen makes things burn, and while there's no fire going on in your body, there's quantum fire going on in your body. The quantum version of the fire in your fireplace is happening in all the cells of your body. There's literally a quantum fire that is producing energy in the cells of the body. And that quantum fire requires quantum oxygen, the way the fire in your fireplace requires air, oxygen that's in air. Everybody knows if you want to make your fire in your fireplace nice and big and bright, you pump air in it with bellows. Well, the cells of the body have a quantum version of fire, which is called oxidation, and it requires oxygen. Now, the most important way to get oxygen is through respiration, but it's not always enough to respire, because as we get older and our bodies break down and inflame, it's tough for oxygen to get through. As cells become defective, it's tough for oxygen to get through. Interestingly, when a cell doesn't get oxygen, it will not have the wherewithal to produce quantum fire. Oxygen is important for quantum fire, and under low oxygen states, cells will resort to another way of getting energy, which instead of oxidation is called fermentation. Fermentation is the digesting of sugar. Sugar can be digested without the presence of oxygen. And this is a very inefficient, if an emergency, and very important in an emergency, form of energy. We've all felt this kind of, by the way, the technical name for the production of energy without oxygen is anaerobic respiration. You may have heard of that term, anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is with oxygen, and AN means without. Anaerobic respiration is without oxygen, and this is an emergency generator, like an emergency generator form of energy. When you run out of oxygen, some people may notice that they work out, sometimes they run out of oxygen when they're running or when they're lifting weights. And what will happen is the cells will go into anaerobic respiration, without oxygen respiration. And we all know that if you do that long enough, you'll feel a burning sensation. That burning sensation is the production of acid, and the production of acid is the end result of anaerobic respiration. When a cell is robbed of oxygen long enough, it will kick into anaerobic respiration chronically. And we have a special name for a cell that kicks into anaerobic respiration chronically because it's been robbed of oxygen for so long. You know what we call that kind of cell, Becca?
No, I don't.
We call it a cancer cell. And this is what cancer is. Cancer is a cell that is operating anaerobically. It's been robbed of oxygen. So now it's kicking in to anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration is emergency respiration. It's an emergency form of energy production. And it's great for emergencies, but not great for long-term thriving. It's kind of like a cell on anaerobic respiration is kind of like your computer on safe mode. Have you ever seen your computer on safe mode? You know, when your computer doesn't have the energy to run on full mode, on full activity mode, it'll go into safe mode. And safe mode allows it to do just the basics. You can't do all the functions a computer can do, but it has just the basic functions. That's what a cell operating on anaerobic respiration is like. It just does the basics. In fact, a cell that is operating on via anaerobic respiration, fermentation energy, a cancer cell can't really do very much. It takes a lot of work for a cell to become a bone cell or a liver cell or a heart cell or a brain cell. That's a very complicated process for an ordinary cell to do things that a heart does or a muscle does or a bone does or a skin does. And cancer cells can't do that. Cancer cells don't become bone. They don't become skin. They don't become heart. They don't become liver. They just become cancer cells. That's all they can do is become cancer cells. They can just divide and suck up nutrients and divide and suck up nutrients because they don't have the oxygen that's required for that energy. So the next time somebody tells you, well, we don't know what causes cancer, that's not true. We know good and well what causes a cell to become cancerous, and that's robbing it of the ability to do work, whether that's robbing it of oxygen, number one, or allowing it to swim in its own toxicity, or depriving it of nutrients. So respiration is very important. Respiration tells the body it's safe when you respire correctly. I'll tell you how to do that in a minute. When you oxygenate correctly and blow off carbon dioxide correctly, the body perceives safety. It's kind of like the body is reading the movement of air in and out. And when it sees that the movement of air in and out is safe, it thinks everything is right in the world. And this activates the safety nervous system. The safety nervous system is called the parasympathetic nervous system, and all the good stuff in life is connected to the parasympathetic nervous system. Digesting your food correctly, a strong immunity, growth and repair, a healthy functioning thyroid, fertility, creativity, energy, all of the good stuff in life is linked to safety, and oxygenation tells the body it's safe, especially when the oxygen is coming in deeply and slowly and rhythmically. I call that slow, SDR breathing, slow, deep, and rhythmic. Slow, deep, rhythmic breathing tells the body it's safe, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and activates all of the good stuff, the fertility and the creativity and the relaxation and the muscle building and the healthy heart and healthy skin and healthy thyroid and good digestive processes and strong immunity are activated when the body feels it's safe, and healthy respiration signals to the brain that it's safe, which kind of makes sense because when you're running from a saber-toothed tiger, you're breathing really fast and you're not breathing really deeply. And when you're breathing really fast and really deeply, the brain says, oh, the body must be in danger, and it activates the danger nervous system, which raises the blood pressure and shuts down immunity and suppresses digestion and reroutes the blood from the front of the brain where you make good decisions and where you're creative to the back of your brain, which is called the reptilian brain, where you act like a reptile, where you fight or flight, where you get angry really quickly, where you look at our world today. Our world is in a collective sympathetic fight or flight reptilian brain activation, because we're all activated at the sympathetic nervous system level, and something as simple as slow, deep, rhythmic breathing can activate the opposite, the parasympathetic nervous system. You can experience this yourself with your blood pressure. One of the things that happens when you're running on sympathetic energy, when you're running on emergency energy, on shallow breathing energy, is your blood pressure will go up. This is an attempt to get more oxygen to the tissues. The pressure gets higher so that more blood can shoot to the tissues, so that the tissues get more oxygenated. By slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, you will find that your blood pressure will gradually drop on its own. By increasing oxygen to the tissues, the blood vessels can now open up. The pressure doesn't have to be as high. Oxygen also helps red blood cells spread apart. A lot of people are dealing with AFib. I was watching a commercial on TV a couple of days ago with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember Kareem. AJ's nodding his head. Kareem, greatest center of all time, or at least in the argument, the greatest center of all time, right? So now he's doing commercials. He's 70. He's in his 70s. He's doing commercials for AFib. AFib is a heart condition that's very common. I get questions on it all the time, where the heart turns to jello. Instead of beating like boom, 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 it's squishy and it doesn't vibrate or beat as the rhythm of the heart doesn't beat as effectively. And one of the things that happens when the heart doesn't beat as effectively is you're more prone towards blood clots, because when the heart doesn't beat effectively, it won't circulate. The blood doesn't circulate through the body as effectively. It's slower, and red blood cells can kind of stick together. Well, one of the best ways to prevent AFib and to prevent the clotting that's secondary to AFib is oxygenation. Oxygenation makes red blood cells spread apart, so they're much less likely to clot. In fact, oxygenation is one of the best ways to suppress AFib, and lack of oxygen is one of the best ways to trigger AFib, not to mention tachycardias and other arrhythmias. So slow, deep breathing is important for the respiratory system. One of the things that slow, deep breathing does, by the way, is it activates a secondary blood pump. The heart is a blood pump, but there's a secondary blood pump that can reduce the load on the heart. And for people who are dealing with heart failure, or who have heart attacks, or who are worried about heart failure or heart attacks, activating this second pump is a great way to reduce the load on the heart, make the heart work less or make the heart work more effective. Where's that pump? What's that second pump? You know, Rebecca?
I don't.
Anybody know out there in Zoom land?
I know there's little valves in the legs, but
No,
we've
it's a
got
big old pump. It's a huge pump.
limb.
The diaphragm. The
All right.
diaphragm. Right in the center of the body. When you inhale, the diaphragm goes down. When you exhale, the diaphragm goes up, and the inhale and the exhale have a pumping action. And they support the pumping action of the heart. And slow, deep, rhythmic breathing that activates the diaphragm also supports the movement of blood, the propulsion of blood through the circulatory system and to the lower, the blood vessels at the extremities. This is especially important for diabetics. One of the biggest problems that diabetics, and you don't have to be officially diagnosed as a diabetic to be dealing with some of the problems associated with diabetes. One of the biggest problems is destruction of the very, very tiny capillaries at the extremities of the body, the fingers, the toes, the eyes, the feet, and the hands. And this is why diabetics are much more prone towards neuropathies, as well as amputations, as well as blindness. Well, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing, by virtue of its oxygenating effect, helping red blood cells spread, and by its pumping action on the diaphragm, improving the pumping action, will improve blood supply to the extremities. and to the eyes. So it's very, very important, especially important for diabetics or people who are dysglycemic, to be supporting the movement of blood via slow, deep, rhythmic breathing. Of course, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing will actually give you more energy because you have more oxygen. Well, just like when you pump a fire with oxygen, you get more fire. Slow, deep, rhythmic breathing will give your body and your cells more oxygen for more energy. So for dealing with cancer, for blood supply, for more energy, there are all kinds of reasons. Activating the parasympathetic relaxation nervous system, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing is important. It's important that it's slow to tell the body it's safe. It's important that it's deep to maximize the oxygenation, and also to activate the diaphragm to get that secondary pumping action. And by deep, you want to go into the belly. Your belly should go out when you breathe in when you breathe out. So you have a little pumping action on your belly too. You can see your belly go out and in and out and in. It's called Buddha breathing or Buddha belly. And then thirdly, activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation nervous system, slow, deep, rhythmic breathing for energy, for activation of relaxation of the parasympathetic nervous system, and for improving circulation. And both phases are important. Interestingly, you are relaxed on the exhale and you're stressed on the inhale. The inhale is energizing. The exhale is relaxing. And in fact, if you're driving, for example, and you're getting tired, or if you're listening to a Pharmacist Ben lecture and you feel like you're falling asleep,
Never.
You can do what's called the breath of fire, which is where you breathe in quickly, which is the opposite of slow, deep breathing, like this. What that does, and you can even do it 3 or 4 times. You can do it first thing in the morning when you want to wake up. And that does the opposite of the relaxation breathing. That's the breath of fire, and that will actually energize you. I just felt energy, a jolt of energy just when I did it there. So to control energy levels, for improving circulation, to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, breathing is very important. The exhale is relaxing. Just like when you're surprised. Think about if you had a surprise party and somebody jumps out of the closet, goes, surprise, you go like this. You breathe in real quickly. Breathing in is part of the stress response, the emergency response. It gives you quick energy. And then breathing out, you say, oh, it's just a joke. It's just my birthday. You go, oh, you relax. In fact, just like if you go like this, you get energy. If you want to just relax, just go like this. Oh. Sighing has a relaxing effect. Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you're doing that fire breathing, are you breathing through your nose or your mouth?
Nose. No, out through the mouth, but breathing in through the nose. You can do out and in through the nose. The problem with breathing out through the nose is if you have a bunch of stuff in your nose, it's all going to come out. So you don't want to do that with your friends around. So,
okay, I just make sure that we were clear on that. That
you can do it either way. You can do it either way. And by the way, when you're breathing, you always want to breathe in through the nose and ideally out through the nose as well, but definitely in through the nose, because you have very interesting glands and centers right at the top of the bridge of your nose that activate the secretion of something called nitric oxide, which is a very important gas that opens things up and lowers your blood pressure and improves perfusion to the tissues. So breathing in through the nose is very important. Plus you filter and warm the blood too, or warm the air too, as it goes in through your nose. So always in through the nose and ideally out through the nose. If you're trying to get a lot of breath, a lot of oxygen, then you want to do through the mouth. But you'll deprive yourself of the nitric oxide. Okay, so that's the first point of the triangle of disease is respiration. On this fourfold square of health. The second point on the fourfold square of health is movement. Exercise, actually stress. Movement and exercise and stress tell the body to grow, tell the body to produce more tissue, activate stimulation systems. So more blood supply, more oxygenation, more cell division, more youthifying, more growth, more repair. It's all associated with movement. Not only that, but as we move, we generate electrical charges. We actually generate electricity as we move. Electricity is generated in the blood vessels as it moves, the electricity referred to as a zeta potential. And that's one of the problems with stagnation of the blood. You lower your electrical energy. Movement amps up electrical energy. The bones and the collagen and the connective tissue are piezoelectric. Piezo means pressure. And the bones and the cartilage and the joints are piezoelectric. When pressure is placed on them, electrical energy is sent through the bones and through the connective tissue to get them to grow and to get them to repair themselves. This is why when astronauts go to outer space, they have to jump on a trampoline. Or when they come back, they got to make sure they're exercising. Otherwise, their bones shrivel because the low gravity drops the zeta potential off of the bones. Sometimes you'll hear people saying, oh my gosh, you're stressing so much. How many times have you heard, Becca, people say that? You have so much stress in your life. Stop stressing so much. You don't want to stress. When do you have the least amount of stress?
When I'm sleeping.
Less.
Less?
Less.
Less than when I'm sleeping. I know, sitting in the hot tub.
Less. When you're dead. That's when you have the least amount of stress.
Okay, that
stress is associated with life. The living force depends on what we call stress in order to grow. Do you ever break your leg? Do you ever have a broken leg or a broken arm? Well, you're lucky.
My back.
Everybody out there who's had a broken leg knows that they've been in a cast for 6 or 8 weeks. When they take the cast off the leg, their leg's been resting, nice and calm and resting for 6 to 8 weeks. So the leg is big and strong and tough because it's ready to go, right? No, it looks like hell. It swings back and forth. It's the most disgusting piece of tissue you've ever seen in your life. A leg that's been wrapped around with a cast for 6 to 8 weeks. It's horrific. You wonder how you're ever going to get your leg back. But it does come back as you stress it. And we call stressing the muscles and stressing the tissues exercise. That's what exercise is. Exercise tells the body to grow. However, just stress is not enough. Just exercise is not enough. If you stress and exercise without doing the second part, you're not going to get the benefit. In fact, exercise should be called exerrest because it's this combination of exercise and rest that accounts for growth. If you just stress the system and stress the system and stress the system and don't allow it to recover, it's not going to grow. Tissue doesn't grow when it's being stressed. It grows when it's resting. That's called recovery. And it's this balance between stress and rest that accounts for maximum growth. Human beings think that they like to relax, right? We don't like to relax. You ever been stuck in bed all day, relaxed in bed all day? That ain't fun. No, you can't wait to get out of bed. Or you're in the hospital and you're relaxed in the bed. You want to get out. You want to do stuff. And now these days, if you have surgery, they have you walking around. In fact, I had knee surgery a few years ago. I had leg surgery a few years ago. And I remember within hours of my surgery, they had me walking around the hospital floor within hours of my surgery with a cane. And they forgot to tell me that I had to tie the back of my robe, I remember, and everybody was laughing. And later I found out that I was putting on a show for everybody. But that's just I digress there. The point is that right when you get out of surgery, they got you walking around, they got you moving because they understand that the rest is when your body atrophies. The strength and the growth come from the stress part. However, it's this yang and yin of stress and rest that have to happen together for you to maximize the growth-inducing properties or growth-inducing effects of the stress. So we don't like to sit in bed all day. On the other hand, the kind of rest we like happens after a hard day's work. You know, people say, oh my God, it's Monday, I have to go back to work, blah, blah, blah. It's like they think human beings, the implication is human beings don't like to work. It's not like we don't like to work. We just don't want to work every single day. We don't want to work every, 40 or 60 or 80 hours a week. We all like to work. We like to be productive. We just don't want to work all the time. There's a wisdom built into that. The body doesn't want to work all the time. It wants to work a little bit and rest a lot. Imagine if we only had to work 1 day a week. 2 hours a week is all you had to work. They couldn't get you out of the office. They'd have to drag you kicking and screaming out of the office because you didn't want to go home because you wouldn't go back to work for another 7 days. We like to work. We just don't want to work all the time. The body loves to work. It loves to move. It loves activity. It just doesn't want to do it all the time. You ever go camping, and you hike for like 5 miles or 10 miles, and you sit down at the end of a long day of hiking with your backpack on, you take your backpack off, you make some potatoes in the fire, and the potato drops in the dirt, and you eat that potato. You don't care. It's the best tasting potato you ever had in your life because you just had a hard day's work. You just walked and hiked and put stress on your body for 6 or 7 or 8 hours. The kind of rest we like happens after we work, after a run. For you guys out there who run or work out, how good does that feel when you come home after a run and you sit down and you just feel awesome because you just worked? And so we love to work, but the benefits of the work don't come when we're working. Your muscles aren't growing when you're lifting weights. They're growing the next day when you're sitting on your butt watching TV. Your brain cells and your synapses and the nerve cell connections don't grow while you're studying. They grow while you're sleeping after you're studying. So the rest, the kind of work we like is associated with rest, and the kind of rest we like is associated with work. And that's the second and third points on the square of health. Exercising the body is critical. And the good news is it doesn't take much because the body likes a little bit of exercise and stress with a lot of rest. Today, there's a kind of training called high intensity interval training or HIIT training. I don't know if you ever heard of that. Mm-hmm. HIIT training. It's when you run for 2 minutes and you rest for 10 minutes. Or you run for 1 minute and you rest for 5 minutes. But when you're running at top speed. It's high intensity interval training, meaning you run or you lift weights or whatever is your exercise, high intensity for a short period, and then you rest for an interval, high intensity interval training. And that's the best way to exercise. And if you're morbidly obese or you're really sick or you just haven't exercised maybe for your whole life, all you got to do is 2 steps. Or all you got to do is stand up out of a seated position and come back sitting down. Or all you got to do is lift a gallon jug of milk. Or it doesn't take a lot of work to do to put stress on the body. And remember, the body likes a little bit of stress and a lot of rest. And that's not just true about the body. It's true about the mind and the brain. It's true about the spirit. It's true about all living things. It's true about a plant. There was a historian named Arnold Toynbee who came up with what he called the stress and challenge theory of civilizations. And he said that civilizations change and evolve when they're under stress. Today we have a big problem. Obviously, if you watch the news, and that's probably not a good thing to do, but if you follow the news, it looks like our civilization is going through a lot of stress. Well, guess what? Based on what Arnold Toynbee said, it is going to evolve and it's going to grow to a better civilization, a better society because of its stress, just like your muscles grow to become more functional and efficient when you stress them. And by the way, that's physics. That's called systems theory. And in systems theory, we say the concept of systems theory is that when a system is stressed, it becomes better and more evolved. I use it when I formulate my skincare products. For you ladies who want to have healthy, beautiful skin, make sure you're stressing your skin with alpha hydroxy acids or with scrubs or with lasers or with microdermabrasion, and then resting the skin to allow the tissue to recover, the system to evolve, to become a better system, just like with your muscles or just like with a civilization or just like with a plant where you trim a plant back and the leaves come back nice and bushy. Whatever metaphor you want, any living system gets better when it's stressed and rested or extra-rest, the second and third points on the fourfold square of health. And then we come to the most important, or for us, the most important point. They're all important, but for us here, the most important point, and that is feeding the system so that it can have the raw materials to evolve and grow in response to the stress and the rest and the oxygenation. And of course, that's the nutritional component. And that's the part we specialize in. Now, if we're going to help people with their health, we got to know about the fourfold square of health. We got to know about the oxygenation and the respiration, I should say, and we got to know about the rest and the stress. But we are specialists in the fourth point on the triangle of diseases, which is nutrition. Somebody asked me on Coast to Coast on, I think it was George asked me on Coast to Coast, when the best time to do your nutritional supplements was. And you know what I said? What do you think I said based on everything we just talked about?
Anytime.
No, the best time.
The best time?
Based on everything we just said. After stress.
Okay.
After the system is stressed. So after a workout is the best time to do your nutritional supplements. Or if you had an emotional stress, or if you just took a test and you had a mental stress, or if you're just stressed out in your life, or also, this isn't exactly a stress, but it represents a depletion of nutrients first thing in the morning. The best time to do your nutrients is after exercise, after stresses, and first thing in the morning. Your body is most receptive to nutrition when it's empty, just like a dry sponge will suck up more water than a wet sponge, or an empty tank of gasoline will take in more gas than a full tank. So you have an empty tank after stress or after exercise or first thing in the morning, you have maximum absorption of nutrients at all of those times. And those are the best times to do, and the most important times to do your nutrition. Nutrition is a very complex subject, as you all know. And I've been studying it for now going on 40 years, and I still learn new stuff about nutrition. But the basics of nutrition are, there are two types of nutrients. There are nutrients that you need in large amounts. I should say, let me say this a different way. There are two types of essential nutrients. Essential means you must have them. There are two types. There are the essential nutrients you need in large amounts, and there are the essential nutrients you need in small amounts. The large amounts of nutrients are called macronutrients. That's the protein, the fats, and the carbohydrates. The micronutrients you need in grams or micrograms or milligrams, very tiny amounts. Those are called, obviously, micronutrients. You have macronutrition and micronutrition. And it's very complicated. There's no way I could tell you in 5 or 10 minutes, but generally speaking, the most important of the macronutrients is protein, and everything else is built around protein. Protein is the Brad Pitt. If the body was a movie, protein is the leading man. Everything is built around protein. The genes of the body make protein. Fats and carbohydrates are very similar. In fact, fats are carbohydrates. So even though we make a distinction between fats and carbohydrates, for simplicity's sake and even for accuracy's sake, fats are carbohydrates. A carbohydrate is, you can tell by the name, carb, carbon, O, oxygen, hydrate. Carbohydrate is carbon, hydrate is oxygen and water. So carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is CHO, CHO. That's all a carbohydrate is. And whether it's a fat or whether it's a sugar, it's still a carbohydrate. What makes a protein different from a carbohydrate, fat, sugar, is an incredible molecule that nobody ever talks about, except we talk about it, and Dr. Wallach talks about it, and hopefully you guys will talk about it after I tell you what it is. It's the most abundant atom or element, if you prefer, in the air that we're breathing. The most abundant element in the air that we're breathing is not oxygen. What do you think the most abundant element in the air that we're breathing is? And before you answer, I'll give you a clue. If you're a farmer, this is the most important element for your farming. In fact, somebody won the Nobel Prize in the 1920s for figuring out how to get this element available in a solid form, when previously the only way to get this element into plants was with bacteria at the bottom of the plant. But this one guy, his name was Fritz Haber, he invented a process for taking the element out of the air and squishing it into a solid form that could be sprinkled on the plants. What's the element?
Well, I was going to say, but I think I'm wrong. I think that the people, so Phyllis says nitrogen.
Yes.
hydrogen,
No,
and I was
no,
carbon
nitrogen.
dioxide.
It's nitrogen. The air that we breathe is 78% nitrogen, but it's unavailable. We can't really get any benefit from it. Only bacteria that live in the bottom of the plant, at the root level of the plant in the soil, called nitrogen fixing bacteria, have this ability to take nitrogen from the air, which is, 78% of the air is nitrogen, and pull it down and make it solid so that plants can use it. That is until about the 1920s, when this guy Fritz Haber, as I was talking about, he invented a way of taking nitrogen from the air and squishing it into pellets and into powder called fertilizer. And this changed the entire planet. All of a sudden, there was an abundance in food because we could now sprinkle nitrogen on the soil, whereas before we had to depend on bacteria. I don't know if you remember this, but about 25 years ago now, can't believe it was that long ago, there was a guy who wanted to blow up a building in Oklahoma City. And what he did was he packed his truck with what? You remember what he packed his truck with? Fertilizer. Exactly. And what was in fertilizer that created this massive explosion? Nitrogen. Because nitrogen is explosive stuff. In fact, the difference between, I don't know if you've ever seen these old Western movies where they're blowing up the mountains to build highways, and they got these little tiny vials, and they got to be really careful. They used to have Asian people walking because Asian people had supposedly anyway, better motor control, better fine motor control. And they would walk very carefully with this little tiny vial. If it dropped, it would cause a big explosion. What was that vial? Nitroglycerin, which is glycerin. Glycerin is just sugar. It's in your cough syrup. It's in skincare products. It's in foods. And it's completely inert. But if you put an element of nitrogen in it, it becomes one of the most explosive things on the planet. Nail polish remover contains something called toluene. Toluene doesn't do anything. It removes your nail polish, but that's about it. But if you put nitrogen with the toluene, you turn your nail polish remover into something called trinitrotoluene. What is trinitrotoluene? TNT, dynamite. You turn your nail polish remover into dynamite with nitrogen. And just like nitrogen turns glycerin into nitroglycerin and nail polish remover or toluene into trinitrotoluene or dynamite, nitrogen turns carbohydrate into protein. It turns carbohydrate, which just does nothing but burn, into protein, which is the leading man of the body. And that's why if you're a bodybuilder, you will measure your nitrogen levels, because nitrogen is required for building muscle. And bodybuilders are always focusing on nitrogen excretion and nitrogen retention. Protein gives you nitrogen to make things happen. And one of the biggest health challenges we have as a culture is being under-proteinated, not getting enough protein. And when you don't get enough protein, you'll find yourself eating more carbohydrates. If you want to reduce your carbohydrates, eat more protein. Now, protein can get turned into carbohydrates too. So if you're diabetic or you're worried about your blood sugar, you gotta be a little bit careful, but it happens much more slowly than with fats and with sugars. The best kind of protein going is whey protein, the Fit Shake protein. If you want a good protein, get yourself on that Fit Shake. So whey protein, and Phyllis can vouch for this. I've been talking about whey protein for decades. And I first discovered it when I was an athlete in pharmacy school, and I've been all about whey protein ever since. Now, some people have an issue with whey, so you gotta be a little bit careful, but for most people, the Fit Shake is the best protein you're gonna ever eat. It's great for reducing your intake of carbohydrates and fats. It's also great for people who are recovering from surgery. Obviously, for athletes, it's important, but also for regular people, because if something is good for an athlete, it's going to be good for regular people too. Just being alive is an athletic event. Just getting your butt out of bed in the morning is an athletic event. If some athlete is doing something, we want to focus on doing it too. and it's extra especially important for older, frail people. So for people who are recovering from surgery or in the hospital, for older, frail people, or for bodybuilders or athletes, or even just for regular folks, Fit Shake, more protein. Cooking your protein is a problem. And this is one of the reasons why we're under-proteinated, because we get our protein from steaks and from burgers and from things that we cook. So we lose a lot of the protein when we cook, a lot of the protein value, although a little bit of heat is important for the release of certain building blocks. But for the most part, we're under-proteinated because protein's expensive. It's harder to deal with. You have to cook it. And also because it's harder for the body to process and to absorb and to break down. So when you're eating your protein, make sure that you're getting your ultimate enzymes and Noni Plus to help the body deal with the protein. And again, I can't give you all of nutrition in just 5 or 10 minutes, but that's protein. The most important carbohydrates are going to be, number one, the ultimate EFAs. Those are the essential fats or essential carbohydrates. And then essential carbohydrates that are found in vegetables. We still can't duplicate what's in vegetables. So eating a lot of vegetables is important, although we do have a product called the Ultimate Youth or Ultimate HGH, correct me, Becca, if I'm wrong, and that's kind of ground up vegetables, ground up in a powder form. You were going to ask something, Becca?
Well, a couple things. So going to vegetables, we do have the 20 daily
That's
vegetable,
right. I forgot about that.
veggie capsules. So I'm super excited about those 20 daily. And then we have the 18 daily for fruit. Going back to the Noni, our Hope product from the Stay Natural has the Noni in it. Where the Noni Plus is no longer. We've got the Hope that's there.
Oh, the Noni Plus is no longer?
No longer.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
So sometime I want to analyze the difference between Noni and Goji, if there's any type of overlap at all.
Okay, put that on for our next call.
Okay, and we do have some questions coming up.
Let me just wind this down real quick, and then I'll take a couple questions. Okay, so micronutrition is vitamins, minerals, and trace nutrients. You need them all. The 4 fat-soluble vitamins, D, E, A, K, we remember them with the acronym DEAK. And then the 2 water-soluble vitamins, C and B, although B is subdivided into the B complex, and they are phenomenally important for energy and for stress. They help the body get energy from foods. That's one of the main roles of the B complex. And they also feed in the quantum energy into the furnaces of the cells. I said earlier how fire, how the cells are getting energy from quantum fire. Well, the food is pulled in to the quantum fireplace, if you will, or the quantum furnace, maybe a better way of saying it, from the action of the B vitamins. How cool is that? The B vitamins pull the little quanta of energy into the furnace so it can be burnt. And so the B vitamins are your stress management and your energy vitamins. Vitamin C is the big kahuna, the Babe Ruth of vitamins, as I said on Coast to Coast the other day. And the quintessential anti-aging vitamin. In fact, that's what it should be called, is the anti-aging vitamin. People call it the anti-scurvy vitamin. Ascorbic acid is scurvy without scurvy. That's where you get the name ascorbic, means without scurvy. But it should be called the anti-aging vitamin, because that really hits home. Nobody has scurvy, but we all have aging, which is a form of scurvy. So vitamin C is your anti-scurvy vitamin, and the fat-soluble vitamins D, E, A, and K, those are a little bit more complicated, especially A and D. Maybe we could talk about that on another Daily with Doc episode. And then, of course, there's the minerals, which we all know about, and they're so unbelievably important. And this is Dr. Wallach had a lot of brilliant insights. We got to give that guy some props, because there's so many brilliant insights. I don't even know where to start, from selenium to the pig pack and cartilage to the plant-derived minerals, colloidal minerals. But let's focus on the minerals for now. The power of the minerals is unbelievable. That's what gives rise to everything else. Vitamins, amino acids, fatty acids, protein, fats, carbohydrate are all dependent on what we call minerals. And I don't want to give it, I only have a couple of minutes. I really don't want to try to explain to you the power of minerals in just a couple of minutes, because I couldn't do them service, except to say they're the most fundamental of all of the nutrients. And I'll say this, and maybe we can talk about this on our next conversation. Minerals are not really minerals. And this is what causes a lot of confusion, even among nutritionists. Even among nutritionists, what are called minerals, air quotes, what are called minerals are the most confusing subject in all of nutrition. And the reason they're confusing is because minerals are not really minerals. I'll leave it at that for our next Daily with Doc. How's that for a teaser?
That's a big teaser, and it kind of goes going back to a little bit on stress and then giving your body nutrition. That links into stress eating a little bit.
Say that again. Oh yeah, that's why we stress eat. Absolutely. There's a couple other reasons. Stress eating is also because when we eat, our body secretes happy hormones. We feel happy when we eat. So eating is one of the ways that we can deactivate stress. But yes, your point is well taken. When you're under stress, you're burning through nutrients, and replacing those nutrients, particularly fast burning nutrients, is a hardwired drive into the body.
All right. Thank you for that. Folks, you can check out the replay to this program on Facebook, Critical Health channel, on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, or even on Amazon Music. Just go for a Daily with Doc. Look for our channels there. And I can't spell the beings on the next thing, but you're going to want to listen to this again. And before we close, we do have two hands up. Pharmacist Ben been up for a while. So first, we're going to go to James. James has a great question.
Okay. Hi, James.
Go ahead and unmute yourself. You should be unmuted, ready to go, my friend. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read his question because he did send it in here. And so his question is, I want to ask Ben what I can take after my heart transplant in 2007. My heart has been good after the transplant, but now I have problems with cancer. I asked my transplant clinic if I could take Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I was told the grapeseed extract would interfere with my rejection med, Tracholimius, which I take 1 milligram twice a day, and 5 milligrams of prednisone. Also, I was told they could not determine what is in the fruits and vegetable mix. Does Longevity have products that I can take to get the 90 essentials?
Okay, so first of all, if you're dealing with a doctor, you have a de facto agreement with that doctor. You have a verbal contract. You haven't signed a paper, maybe you have, but even if you haven't, there's a de facto implied contractual relationship. And just like when I'm helping somebody with their health, I don't want somebody to come in and say, don't do this or do this and interfere with what I'm trying to do. I couldn't and I wouldn't do that with a doctor. So your doctor is taking care of you. You've agreed to let him take care of you. It's not in my place to contradict anything he said. That being said, the fact that grapeseed extract in a Beyond Tangy Tangerine is going to interfere with that anything is ridiculous, number one. Doctors don't know anything about nutrition, and so they treat nutrients as if they were drugs, and they treat foods as if they will interfere with the drugs. And unfortunately, that ends up depriving patients of both nutrients and correct foods. There are doctors who will say, don't eat broccoli after you have surgery. There's no time not to eat broccoli. Or they say, no, don't have broccoli if you're on a blood thinner. That's ridiculous because they think that because broccoli contains vitamin K, that somehow that vitamin K that's in the broccoli is going to interfere with the drug. That's not how food works. Food doesn't have the same kind of potency as a drug. We talk about food being medicinal, and it is, and nutrition being medicinal, and they are, nutrients being medicinal, and they are, but they don't have the same kind of intensity and potency. It's like drugs are like Darth Vader. Broccoli is like your grandmother's apple pie. You know, there's a complete difference in intensity with the two. You got Darth Vader and you got your grandmother. So that's how you want to look at the difference between drugs and nutrients. It's a completely different intensity. But in fairness to doctors, they're not interested in you thriving. They're interested in you surviving. Their goal is to keep you alive. Whether you thrive or not, they could care less. If you survive, they're happy. Our job and your job is to thrive, not just to survive. Are you happy just surviving? Of course not. Nobody's happy just surviving. But it's important to survive because you can't thrive until you survive. So doctors have a place, but they're not going to help you thrive, and they don't care if you thrive. They just care if you survive. So if you want to survive, that's great. Do everything the doctor says. But if you want to thrive, you have to do other things. And that's the things we talked about. Grapeseed extract, it's not going to save your life. It's not going to change your life, but it's not going to interfere with your drugs either. Fruits and vegetables are vital. There's no getting around that. So I can't contradict what your doctor's saying. You have to make that decision, but I can tell you there's no time when fruits and vegetables are not important. And the likelihood of fruits and vegetables interfering with your immune suppressive medicine is slim to none. That being said, you got to participate with your doctor. As far as your heart goes and cancer, based on everything we just talked about, you can see why that would happen, because the heart is responsible for oxygenation. Cancer is an issue of oxygenation. So what I would be doing if I were you is I'd be doing the Healthy Start Pack and the healthy heart and brain pack. And I'd be doing things like hyperbaric oxygen, where you drive oxygen into the body. And then also making sure that you're exercising, stressing the body, because as you exercise, you're going to grow tissue, and your body's going to be more receptive to oxygen as long as you're doing them simultaneously. That is, the breathing with the exercise, likewise with the nutrition and the exercise. So basically everything we just talked about, the fourfold square of health, focusing on the mighty 90, from the nutrient side of things, focusing on the mighty 90 essential nutrients, and I would be using the healthy brain and heart pack, and then throwing in a few extra things like the Restart Your Life, for example, which is beta-glucan, which is very helpful for folks who are dealing with cancer. The Ultimate Selenium, which not only has anti-cancer properties, but has important heart health properties as well. So throwing in the Ultimate Selenium. Anything you could do to stabilize your blood sugar. Anybody who has cardiovascular health issues, or for that matter, kidney health issues, should know that heart disease and kidney disease and blood sugar problems go hand in hand. They work together. So cardiovascular health issues, kidney issues, work on the blood sugar in addition to working on the blood system itself with a healthy brain and heart pack. Okay? I hope that helps, James.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ben. And for the Restart Your Life, the products that Pharmacist Ben is referring to with the beta-glucan, that is RVB 300 or RYL 500, or it's beta 500. So RYL beta 500. Those are from the Restart Your Life program. Within longevity, and again, get back with the person and refer this program to you when you're ready to order, because I know you're going to want to. And if there's nobody to thank, go to DailywithDoc.com and you'll find these products on our website in the store as well. One more question, Ben.
Okay.
And we have Deborah. Deborah, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. So my question is, I've had a full hysterectomy with ovaries out, and I had my gallbladder removed, and trying to get my digestive system in.
Deborah, you're like a heavyweight fighter with one arm tied behind the back, trying to fight like this. I'm sorry, but that's tough. I didn't mean to.
No,
but they're all involved. First of all, they took your gallbladder out. Chances are you had some digestive problems.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Found that out afterwards.
A history. Yeah. It's unfortunate. So it's going to be tough. You want to pound the ultimate EFAs for one. Pound them. But make sure you take them with food, and make sure you take them with your ultimate enzymes and a little bit of the, I guess we don't have the Noni Plus anymore, that which is new to me, but the HO product. You need a little bit of acid to activate the ultimate enzymes. So the ultimate enzymes will give you a lot of the things, Doc calls them gallbladder in a bottle. It'll give you a lot of the gallbladder nutrients, and it'll help you process your foods. And the fats will help you with your hormone system. You're also going to need to support the intestine, because estrogen is processed in the intestine. So using, and by the way, even though you don't have your female organs, you're still making estrogen. As long as you have body fat, you're still making estrogen. But you're going to have a little bit of an issue clearing it without a gallbladder. And so you want to make sure that you're clearing it effectively through the intestine. So you got to focus on intestinal health for the rest of your life. Hardcore. Focus on intestinal health, because you're running higher risks for intestinal problems without a gallbladder, and higher risks for female hormone problems if your intestine becomes compromised. So intestinal health, the nightly essence, daily digest, ultimate microbiome. I just saw there's another one I'm thinking of here. Fiber, make sure you're doing vegetable juices to get fiber with your meals. Eat less food. Do your healthy, make sure that you're doing the Healthy Start Pack daily so you don't eat as much food. Resist the urge to eat when it's not necessary. And make sure that you're getting high concentrations of fat-soluble vitamins, because without a gallbladder, you're not going to be, in addition to the EFAs, you're not going to be able to absorb the EFAs, you're not going to be able to absorb your fatty vitamins. We didn't talk about the fatty vitamins, but let me just say this. The fatty vitamins are your thriving vitamins, the vitamins that help you grow and repair and anti-age and deal with stresses, which your body's under a lot of stresses. Those are vitamins D from the sun. You should be getting sunshine, and you have dark skin, black skin, so you're not going to be able to get as much vitamin D. So make sure you're concentrating on getting vitamin D from the sun, in addition to from the Ultimate Multi from Longevity, which will get you some vitamin D, and vitamin E and A and K as well. Vitamin K, you might want to focus on green leafy vegetables, and the probiotics, the nightly essence, will also help you get vitamin K. So you got to really hit the intestinal health hard, and hit the fats hard, and the fat processing supplements, the ultimate enzymes, and the noni juice hard as well.
When I take extra of the ultimate, I take the EFA plus and I take the ultimate EFA. But when I took three times a day of the ultimate EFA, I ended up with bruising on my skin.
Well, I don't know if it would be, I don't know if that would cause bruising, but the lack of vitamin K can cause bruising, and you're going to be deficient in vitamin K without, number one, gallbladder, and without or with intestinal health problems, because vitamin K is made in the intestine by bacteria, and those bacteria are going to suffer from the lack of a gallbladder, and vitamin K is absorbed from food, from bile. So I don't know necessarily the EFAs would cause bruising, although they could thin the blood a little bit, and that can compound some vitamin K problems. EFA shouldn't cause bruising if everything else is working correctly. So, so use the vitamin, make sure you're getting enough vitamin K through the Ultimate Multi and through green leafy vegetables with the ultimate enzymes. So these are areas to focus on. If you need some more personal help, you can always reach out to me.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. And thank you, Ben, for another over hour of amazing, empowering information that folks, there's so much to nutrition, so much to life, so much to making things right. But once you hear it and know about it, it's simple.
It is. It's not supposed to be complicated. You're right.
But there's a lot of working pieces to it. Like anything that is divinely created and amazing, you gotta put the effort into it to keep it going.
Thank you. If there's any guests on the call, I don't know if there are, Rebecca, we want business builders. We're looking for business builders. So sign up. If you like this kind of stuff, sign up with whoever invited you, and let's build a business together. We can all do it together. Becca and I and AJ and Phyllis, we can all help you do it, everything together. We can all help you grow your business.
Absolutely. And folks, that is something that my motto, my mantra is, empowering people so they can have healthier families so we can have healthier communities, and together we make a healthier world. And that's where that business comes into it, where we are giving of ourselves because we have a heart and passion for people. We want to see them thrive, not just barely survive, but we still have bills to pay too. And having that thank you check come back is just a bonus in doing something that is full of purpose. And when you were talking about, we want to work, and we had some people saying 2 hours a day or a week is fine for me. Well, if you only want to work 2 hours a week, then you're not in a business that is giving you that satisfaction and drive and purpose. And that's something that I love about this business is I've got that purpose. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I have the vehicle to do it with the products that work. And it just, because they worked in me, I have to tell the world. So that's what we're doing. And folks, if you've got even a little mustard seed part of that within you, then make sure that you get back with the person, like Ben said, that invited you to this program. If nobody invited you, then go to DailywithDoc.com, use that contact option on our website, or connect with one of our certified holistic health coaches at 855-949-3377. Well, Ben, another fabulous Friday with Pharmacist Ben. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Becca. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye for now. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us, joining. We had a lot of great communication going on in the chat, which if I could get my co-hosts up with me, that would be fantastic. If you're here live with us, which it's really simple to do, when we have our show, which is Monday through Friday, usually. We're getting back there. From 12 to 12:50, 1 o'clock, depending on our guest, 1:10, if we're with Bill, or with Pharmacist Ben. Join us. Go to DailywithDocZoom.com. That is DailywithDocZoom, ZOOM.com, and you can join us. One of the biggest benefits of being on with us is this chat that we're able to browse through and follow along with and see the amazing work of two of our co-hosts, Phyllis Anderson and Marilyn Pazera Spear, as they are doing dictation and putting this information into the chat so that you can take screenshots of it and capture the things that really touch you, that you want to remember. And yeah, somebody loves sports. So we can't forget Sportus, as Sportus is helping us as well in getting us out on the different channels and making sure that the streams are set up and ready to go, which she's not here with us today, but Ruth Ellen Sanchez helps do the same thing. She's our executive production manager. He's the associate or assistant to the executive production manager. But it takes a team to make this happen, folks. It really does. And then we have Albert, who's here helping make sure people get into the Zoom room quickly and watching the cameras, make sure it's a safe place. And Storks, I love you too. So I get to see the chat that's going on in YouTube and say hello to Australia. Hello, hello. I just love our team. Thank you, Olga, for being here. Joe, we've got a load of people here in the Zoom room with us. Folks, it's people like you that we love to surround ourselves with, because you're waking up, you know the value of nutrition, and share this with other people so that they can have that hope and knowing that they don't have to be stuck where they're at. And I think Pharmacist Ben's response to James's question is absolutely perfect. So go back, listen to that again. Again, you can find us on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Amazon Music, I've got my list. Facebook, iHeart, Simplecast, Castbox, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Instagram, Patreon. Then the list is growing. So we love you. We appreciate you. And thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. Until next time, what did I forget? AJ, anything? DWDgiveaways.com? Nope, no.
Our
Okay.
schedule for next week.
Next week, we have, I've got to confirm on Monday, but I know that we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday filled. So I'm confirming for Monday, nothing on Tuesday. So folks, tune in. And it's real simple. If you jump on to DWD or DailywithDocZoom.com, in the waiting room, I put up there whether or not we're going to have a show. So that's the easiest way to do it. Just go to the website, DailywithDocZoom.com, and look at the little intro that I have there just before showtime, and you will know whether or not we are live or not. So thank you so much, everybody. And yeah, so thank you, Marilyn. So Monday, we're getting confirmation. Wednesday, we have Dr. Judy Reynolds back with us. Thursday, we have Michelle Wallach back with us. And Friday, we have Pharmacist Ben Fuchs again. So I love this lineup, and I just want to do a shout out to and say hello to Dr. Wallach, folks. Dr. Wallach is on with us, listening in. He doesn't want to be left out. He loves hearing the message that those who have been following him and using his teachings and his research to help others just lights the fire. And I'm telling you, he is itching to get back on screen. So as soon as the family says that he can come off a vacation and take this much needed break, then we will have Dr. Wallach on with us again. Absolutely. So my name is Becca Dukes, and I am proud to be the hostess of this program, the leader of many on this team, and an instrument used by God to help people find that there are other options. Bye for now.